Welcome, everyone. I'm very glad to have you here, and also I'm very happy and thrilled to be in GeeCON again after a long time before pandemic. But I have in Poland for like one of the most visited country when I'm visiting and speaking in different countries. So I went to different cities. I love your country so much, and you have amazing culture and people and everything. So thank you for having me. So again, good morning. I hope you enjoyed the first session. Today is the last day. There were 2 amazing days before. We get a lot, but I'm not here to speak about anything related to Java, even though I'm Java champion and do Java all my life. But I'm a solution architect. So sometimes things I need to share from either experience or things that you messed up or whatever it happened that I would like to share so you don't learn it in the hard way, as we are telling our kids always. Listen and please follow and they say, you think that you know everything. Okay, you will know it later on. You will have to learn it in hard way, as we do. But this is our norm of the people that we have sometimes to learn in hard way in order to understand the situation. So again, I'm thrilled to be here and I hope that you are ready, honestly, for an honest moment and sometimes humorous deep dive into the messy, complicated world of the solution architect world. And we are not here to, I'm not here and we are not come to attend here this session to listen about glory and shiny story of success. Now I'm here to speak about failure. That kind of failure that make you feel cringe sometimes. That kind of failure that really will taught you a lesson that you will never forget. And ultimately, for sure, is the kind of failure that shape the kind of professional you become. So are you ready? Let's deep dive. So about me, not too much. You can just easily scan my barcode and you will have everything. I welcome everyone to connect to me. Oh yes, this is very amazing. I can see you. That's really good. So a good number of attendees. So I'm a solution architect at Magna International. Magna is a car part manufacturing, and we are also producing cars for big OEMs, whatever they are. And we are 12 groups around the world. We are federated groups. Each group is responsible for a specific part of the car, from engine to mirrors to lighting to seating to whatever compose the car. And also we are making the full car at the end, like G-Class, BMW, Z4, 5 Series, and so on. So you can understand how the number of integrations could be, because each group is just a standalone company with all their HR, finance, and da-da-da. And finally, you have a CEO and board that would like to have a data and insights and integration about everything in the whole companies. While it's acquisition, it's not completely built from ground as a one company. There is acquisitions, there is merging and different culture, different countries, different perspective. So you learn a lot by engaging with different teams. So my team that I'm working with, I'm Egyptian. I'm based in Serbia. So I have a team in Serbia. They are developers. My management is in Austria and Germany and US. And I have my colleagues in India and China, as well as in Japan. And then I work with all the people across Europe, Middle East, Latin America. And so you can understand even the time zone hectic when we would like to have a small meeting. So I do Java for 12 years or more. This is as a community participation. This is why I'm Java champion, speaking about Java and contribution, GDK, Java E previously, Jakarta E ambassador. And my core technology, and this is all my career, even when I was in the college, I chose Java. I was certified 1.2 version of Java early back in 2005. So you can imagine how I loved Java. I was just graduating and went to Google, Oracle, startups, and so on. And guess what? At Magna, everything is .NET. There is nothing to do with Java. But what can I do? I like the domain knowledge. And then it's a challenging for me. Different mindset, different tools. Everything is in Azure. You cannot speak Java. It's taboo. Now all the resources just know .NET. Power Apps. SQL Server, no other database. It's Microsoft logged company almost. So we have Databricks, but runs on Azure. So imagine all of these kind of things that you didn't work with, so it's a challenge. Why not? You are a solution architect. Sometimes you have to go up. It's nice to have this ecosystem, and you go to the other ecosystems. You are learning a lot of other things. And to teach you cooperation with the people. You are not, coming to dictate what you know. You have to listen, collaborate. The people will teach you and give it easy for you. What is the tools they are using? Then you can do the architecture and align on the biggest objectives with the CEO and to fill the gap between these two, C-suite and development. So I would be glad to have you on my LinkedIn. Any questions? Let's have the question at the end. Okay, you can scan this barcode, fill out your questions, and we will tackle them at the end. Ready? So, our agenda. As I mentioned to you, I start as a senior Java developer, web application, then advanced and promoted during my career. And then I reached to solution architecture. So something that I like. I'm still hands-on coding. I'm not just ivory tower solution architect, dump some diagrams to the people, because I had this experience and I don't want to be like this. So in order to be a good solution architect, you have to understand your team, the core fundamentals of everything, so you know how the thinking process of these people, you know the estimation, you know actually how it is, as well as some soft communication skills, speaking, like the way that you can convince your business. It's very important. Business doesn't care about any kind of technicalities. So when you come, you speak, you need to understand business means cost and time, and what the value that you bring to me. Any technicality you speak, doesn't matter. They doesn't understand. It's not their language. So sometimes we are technical guys, go there, we are confident, we have a lot of tools, our toys, and then we go to speak to the business and they get bored and they reject the project. In my company, it's the case because we are not IT core. We are product and manufacturing processing core. We are different domains. Same like when I was working for Pfizer Egypt. They are pharmaceutical, and the representative like medical reps are more important than IT. You are a cost center. So you have to justify every single cent you will pay for either cloud, on-prem, tooling. Why? Especially in our messy world now with these kind of tariffs, things, economy, everything reduction. You see the car industry also get affected by those, so it's reduction. And you need to gain money because we get our salaries from what we are doing internally to our customer. And then this is how we revenue. So it's a challenging, but it's complicated. So my career from building secure, resilient systems to contributing to Java community has been filled with moments that I really think about, stop and think, I really messed that up. Even with myself or something, or any kind that we will share now and we will speak about. I really messed it up because those moments actually were so important and were priceless because each failure taught me something that's crucial to my career and life as well, and then never could happen from any success that you can see it immediately. So today I want to share with you 10 lessons. With you, each story is a bit like roller coaster sometimes, yes, and between and tallies between missteps, misunderstanding, and occasionally, ultimately, madness of some, speaking with colleagues, things in the project, you think that you are confident and you hit in your head and sorry. So learn the hard way. But to be honest, this kind of stories, it should be resonant and inspire you to look at the failure from different view and perspective. So first one, I didn't have any chronological order, but those are 10 out of things, but I see those are common when I consult or I work with or in companies or with colleagues or with even people in the community. And my realization and views are definitely changing. because of that. So misinterpreting client, by the way, not all these lessons, it should be new for you. But sometimes I'm repeating it because it's very important to just, refresh our mind, what's mistakes, how to tackle it. What is my 1% different view from what your problem? Then you have more knowledge. You have more, solutions. And this is where diversity comes from. I will speak about diversity at the end because I failed in something like this with my team and also companies I consult in Serbia. So I wanted to share this with you. So it's always, even when I was reading about Java, for example, I could read about the same topic, but different books. Every single book, it repeats the same, but there is one paragraph or different point of view has been presented to me. And this is why I love teaching and sharing knowledge. Because when I share, I get the knowledge in hard way to share it. And then there is a lot of the other brains will tackle you with the questions. Then you will know more because you don't know everything. You have one view, but others give you the 360 view of the whole topic. So never feel like, this is what I do with my team, like if you would like to share something, yes, prepare a presentation and tell it for us, because sometimes I don't have time, but I need to learn. And they are ready to do this. And then he brings his innovation and thoughts and creativity into the process, then we learn from each other. So it's very important to listen. And also misinterpreting, it's not only because it's a cultural reasons, language barriers, many things. This is why we need to clarify. Early on, I created a solution based on assumptions more than clarification. So what happened? I was working on a project early on, like my early days, as we are confident, we understand everything, we don't take notes, we have fresh brains, we are graduated. So why my manager have, always notebook and writing, like, he's like old, he couldn't memorize. Really, it was like this, like, okay, I'm fresh, I'll go to every meeting, go on, listen. And even I'm not listening carefully. I'm listening to this, okay, yeah, I understand. Interruptions happens more frequent. For people, some like, please let me finish. Okay, but I understand, I get it. So this is something very important to have it. Don't interrupt. When you will not interrupt, when you listen carefully. When you are really want to listen, not just to argue in anything. Or just to show, or you think that you know. No, be dumb. Play dumb. And you will be very effective with yourself. So this project where I misunderstood the client completely and the client needs, because I assumed rather than, as I mentioned, clarified. But I was happily confident, to be honest, enough that I was developing and delivering the perfect solution for the customer. Yes, I get everything. I went to the coding. I did what I understand. Quickly, timely, I'm very active with my team, and I went to the client. And I found out that I missed completely the mark. And this is not what we want. What does it lead? It for sure will lead to rework or even cancellation for the project. When I joined one of my company, I was first trying to see the process, how the colleagues, especially, I'm speaking about Magna, for example. I joined, people has different culture. I'm coming from software-oriented companies, either consultancy or the core our product is software. And then you joined product-based different domain. So you figured out that some people, I need documentation. We don't rely on documentation. And literally one guy told me, don't waste your time. We don't do documentation here. We sit with the client, we understand everything, we do it. And I remember my manager in the interview, and when he tried to onboard me, he told me, most of our solution presented to the client internally, they doesn't like it, even reporting. They doesn't see its value. This is why they are getting into external vendors. Why? Because you didn't clarify. You didn't even try to bring them what they said. Not always the customer know what he wants. He has idea. He has a needs. Your job is to clarify by questions to make it about either infrastructure or technical stuff, but you are talking business to them, or the idea, the processes, how you do this manually, why you want to do it even. Is it visible or not? Not just, don't worry. They will trust you more. So assumption literally can blind you. Actively listen and verify. Verify, I will speak about this one for documentation. Verify means, I usually get used to have, now we are using Teams. We have Copilot, we have transcripting, we have, don't waste your time in taking memos anymore. Just listen, record it, transcript it, but don't trust AI always. You have to review as a human. This is what also learning from AI, like working with AI tools and everything. No, it will generate nice text for you, but you need to review it, organize it, and fill it in document. Please, can you read and give your reviews? And then when you have sign off, and you will find, no, I didn't mean this, then you refine, re-enhance. Once they are clear, you are clear, sign off and you start. And we will see another point how we can engage them. So what we need to do, start every project with an open-ended questions and create a clear requirement document. You don't have to choose a perfect tool, even if it's paper, hand, scan it and fill it. Word document, dump it. Don't care about how it's either, unless you have template or something to follow, but have something. Then later on you can refine. You can take care of how it looks. I'm very detail-oriented person, and this was wasting from my time a lot of things. Looking at professionality more than delivery. And then you are wasting a lot of time trying to see the perfect tool that has all the options. Okay, you need just a drawing tool. You don't need this integration with this, because I will see it in the future. I will use it. No, now. Do it now. And it changed my way. Focus on the value and delivery. And then you can refine and enhance. People will love you more because you get something. And then even if it's 50%, but you have done something. Recently, my manager just sent me, before I come to the conference, and he sent me an email with a presentation. I don't know anything about the project, and it's all the presentation is just prepared for our tech day, innovation, and it's all about questions. What we need to do, how we integrate this. And please, draw for me a high-level architecture diagram for the solution. Okay, and I need it. I'm traveling next week. I have only one day. And then I asked him, I need someone to clarify. What do you want already? Just clarification. What do you want? Because I can draw many things, many components, and it will be presented to the client, which is our CEOs and all of this, and it will be taken as a commitment. So you can't. No, sorry. And he doesn't reply me. He was very busy. And I know. What can I do? I read the presentation again and again. From the questions, you can figure out, nodes, points, things. And okay, I don't know why he want to integrate with this component, but I can by assumptions, because I have to do something, I draw something. Then I hit him a meeting next day. I found slot, and we created slot for a meeting. And he thought that he want to clarify. He started explaining. And when he was explaining, I already have this assumption. It was, okay, I'm aligned. It's good that I understand it correctly, but I listen carefully. When he finished, I told him, okay, I have something that will make you happy. And I want you to see it, review it, give me comments. And I want to ask you, why you want to use Databricks in this AI-based ticketing assistance system? I did the MCP part for metrics, this, and how this is I get it. Did you communicate with someone? No. But I tried to connect the dot. And based on your clarification, I will enhance, and I enhance it. I understand what you want to do, but I finished almost 80% of the requirement. And he was happy because he thought that I will start working. And for myself, I removed something from my shoulder. It was very important. It taught me, yes, you can do 20%, 30%, but you started something, you have idea, clarify, continue. MVP, take it like this. So next one. Overengineering. We love this one. So overengineering. Yeah. I will tell you one story. I lost opportunity, big opportunity because of this, to be a CTO for a company. But, learning in hard way. So I designed a robust system, and that ultimately will really provide the user unfriendly interface, as resulting in a delays and rework. So one day, I was proposed to work with a startup in the US, and they wanted to develop order management system for a restaurant. And they told me and they consult me, they know me. And then, okay, I understand the requirement. I was learning about too much like microservices and tools and trends and conferences to sharpen my teeth. I jump it in, I draw things. And I was really confident this is the ultimate solution. I presented to them, like after feedback, they told me, it's just like, we cannot continue. And it's not proper for us. Man, I used the latest technologies, cutting edge tools, the microservices architecture and everything. And okay, why? I was so frustrated and nervous as well, like why? I don't know, what is the problem? Then they told me it's very over-engineered, as well as it's very costly, and it will take so much time, and we need to catch our investors. And okay, what did you do? They found someone building a monolith application based on Python, and just to start, and it can scale even horizontally or vertically, even as a monolith. When you have a demand and you get the fund, you can re-architect and, scale. You don't start big because microservices, yes, it's too much complication. Resources, it doesn't have enough resources. I didn't consider different factors. But this has taught me a lesson that I took it into consideration when I was developing something at Magna when I joined, to use ultimately modular monolith. In order, if there is some of the component has been, has been hit by a lot of number of users, you can scale easily, but it's still monolith. But I also taken into consideration all the factors that I have, didn't think about. So this is how it is. So unfortunately, but I was fortunate enough to receive the feedback, because the feedback is always important. Don't hesitate to ask about the feedback. Why? I appreciate the HR people that when you are failing an interview or something, or you didn't pass, for certain reason, they give you feedback. I love these people, because this is how we learn, because you don't know. Sometimes you don't know why. So simplicity is often the most scalable and maintainable way. Develop for clarity and focus on what provides actual value to the user. So it was very important. So if I want to move to a different point, what was very important is security. We always, I think like there is practices like security, like many other aspects. It's a culture, it's a mindset. It's not about like, performance. You don't always develop just, we always like coding, tools, integration, best practices, REST API, but we ignore security sometimes, and because security is complicated. But you see how the vulnerabilities we can have every day, how it's affected Microsoft with 0 days vulnerability before, like all over the globe for the cloud, and our services has been interrupted with CloudStrike, and all of these kind of things. But yes, security is very, very important. And recently even, Microsoft has exposed that they have a lot of problems, but by using Cloud Defender and all of this, our services is not interrupted and batched under the hood for us. This was the good news. So security, we always ignore it. And we have an HR application. We rush to development. We want to, it was for government scale. And we forget to have role-based. It was admin user hitting database. This is the actual application user. And someone hacked, get all the salaries. And it's very interesting to know the salaries. So your colleague, your peer, why he's taking more than, but we are lucky that it was exposed internally, not externally. before we are going to the full-scale production, even for the government. So we were like, POC on our data set and everything before we go to larger scale, and this has happened. So we figured out one day that salaries has been exposed. It was a big problem. People start to speak, and we took the hard time because we have a demo for the Prime Minister, and also the guys about how the HR application will help all the government, public people to contribute, and how you can have unified view, or blah, 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 blah. But we had to postpone it because of this problem, to fix our problem. So security, what I can say about security, actually, never let speed override essential practices. So security is very important because it's, something that you cannot miss, same like performance, but embrace DevSecOps. It's some kind of like back defend for you. And security isn't a checklist, it's a mindset. When you start practicing, you will get used to it. But you need to do it. Start it as a checklist. When you finish your code, did I check about roles? Did I check about authentication, authorization, how it's accessed? Yes. After that, after some time, same like performance. When you review the code, it's a checklist that you take. But then it becomes mentality. It becomes something that you focus on rather than just only the business. My favorite part is neglecting document in early days. Focus solely on coding and leaving minimal documentation, onboarding new team becomes really, really, really tough for you. And it becomes a struggle, not only for onboarding, but this is what the most I see. You don't document process, you don't even document. It will remove a lot of you. One company I joined, and they have a Confluent boarding process. I know what I need to do, first month, second month, third month, and you have checks. It was amazing. So this is something I learned, and I love documentation so much. And you remember when I told you about the guy, like, okay, I'm documentation-based person. I like to document either it's API, it's either like on portal, user-friendly set of API, user responsive things, or architecture document, or user requirement document with diagrams, with clarification. I love these things because this is how I clarify for myself my understanding. Then if I have questions, I put question mark to ask again what I get as a requirement from the users. So let me get here back, because we often, neglect documentation. Or if we don't pay too much attention, especially after signing off. Hey, we signed off, we have the project, clarification, let's go on. But man, there is a lot of changes in the middle happening. You didn't update. Okay, give this outdated documentation to the new members or hand it over members, and they will do something messy. And then they will bring you back because they will see contradicting between what they read and the code, and you will be drained into explain what's in you, and you will not remember. And all of you know this, you will not remember. Just try. I know it's not an easy, but it's a mindset. Documented, updated. But do it instantly, because the more you are delaying documenting what you heard, you're losing some percentage of this information. Because I guarantee you, you will go out from here, 30% from what I said, you will forget about it. It's natural. Unless you are super sonic listener, even myself. So I always say, like, document is a long-term asset. It's very important. It doesn't matter unless it's documented down, or it's written down. It's very important because it can make or break knowledge transfer and system continuity. And this was very helpful for my company because they doesn't rely on documentation. They doesn't understand. I took a lot of time to convince people about it. Have uniqueness, have same, views, everything, and they get used to it. And later they start to ask and share it, because you need also to be consistent, the same knowledge transfer from one to another. Either it's documentation or graph or high-level architecture, and you are versioning. And then I put it in Confluence, and I link it with LeanX enterprise architecture. So it's everything in one location. You update it, everyone shared with this documentation. It makes the life easier, and they are happy with it now. But before, it was a lot of, no, we don't do this. It's a waste of time. Same like testing. It's a waste of time. But if you don't have testing, good luck with production and vulnerabilities and failure and bugs and everything. So next, assume one. This is usually, you will hear it from trending solution, because we hear about trending solutions, and we have one architecture successful, or people says, and it was very good. I will speed up this because time is flying. You can speak more. So I joined the company as a consultant to take over a bankruptcy project from another company. That bankruptcy before goes to production, even though. Why? Because they embraced the microservices architecture, and they doesn't know how to do it efficiently on cloud. So the cloud was sucking all their cost, because they have all the production-ready environment running on development, testing, and QA. Imagine cost bills coming, and also a lot of complexity, not too much resources, and also the knowledge of doing microservices. It was really, really deep, granular, to the point that one functionality has been decoupled into 6, 7 microservices, while you can merge them like user profile. It's all about user. Why you have user profile, user preferences, authentication. It's all about user. If you would like to decompose later on, but just don't start. It was like 65 microservices. It was a version ticket training system for UK. So we took over, we start with the team, reevaluate, and we ending up with 25 microservices. Really. And it was too much also, but this is the final requirement. The tooling, a lot of tools has been used. We're trying to simplify the tools. Every architecture has a trade-offs as well as pros and cons. So you have always to consider trade-offs. Architecture is about trade-offs. It's not just only tools, solutions, our toys. No, always think about the trade-offs. Why you are using this. Architecture decision document is very important. Why you took this decision. And because some people will say, okay, why didn't you use this service? It must fit. Oh, sometimes because of cost. Sometimes because of the latency, the speed, the region that you're deploying. The cost of the region, the cost of communication, the cost of transferring data. So everything has a reason. So don't assume that one solution could be reliable for everything. So even though the same architecture could some microservices, some monoliths, because you don't have user demand, why not? It's more simple. Think about simplicity. So what we can learn from this point, that every project has a unique requirement and you have to consider. So use architecture as a flexible framework, not a rigid blueprint. It's not a Bible. This is why we have the design pattern, but useful for certain cases. Not for every cases, even if it looks similar. Dig deep, requirement, cost, everything, then you will come up with the perfect one. Legacy systems. Legacy systems, yes, they still exist, but don't think about legacy system as the COBOL-based and things. No, our projects from 5 years early on are legacy systems for us, and we would like to consider them. We'd like to migrate them. We'd like to go here, but usually we neglect the deep analysis of those systems. And no, okay, later on we will take it until you get surprised that you has stuck with this kind of integrations, because different protocols, different systems, different libraries, integration points. Then the project that should take 2-3 months to go live, it took months. I emphasize these months, it should be months also, because S is silent, but took more than 1 month of delay because you didn't consider. The same when I was working with the team on data lakehouse architecture, we need to consider a lot of data. They neglect the initial analysis of the data sources, from where it comes. Sometimes it's Excel sheets, sometimes it's ERBs, and some vendor ERBs is very hard to integrate with. They have ADI interface. Everyone assumes it's REST API. They definitely will provide me JSON. It could be XML. It could be different binary thing. You don't know. Sometimes it's soup-based. So you have to do a deep analysis to not just assume again, and you have to consider legacy system because they are dinosaurs out there. But you cannot get rid of them, especially if you are trying to re-innovate them or integrate with them. So the lesson here, respect, please, legacy systems, because they can make your life nightmare. Third-party banking systems, pension. I was working in a pension, and pension system is COBOL-based, AS400, and they are COBOL-based. For sure, they have interface. And we developed user interface for the users, integration with ACH, ATM machines. Everyone pensioner will get their money. And then when it comes to integration with this back end, because it has all the data of pension, we cannot get rid of it. It's a problem. They provide COBOL interface. How can I integrate with it? And we brought a consultant to understand this. Yes, you need IBM AS for Z, because this is plug-in on the COBOL understanding and transfer it into meaningful endpoint that you can understand, soup-based or REST API. But I didn't pay attention. The project has been delayed for 6 months, and we lost really good opportunity. So why respect? Because the past really impact the present more than you think. Yes, this is who I am. And I want to speak about it because it's one of the things that really affect me early on, and I learned a lot from. So I can say, like, I have one guy who was the heart of his town, to be honest, like from organizing events, actively speaking at conferences, any opportunity in conferences that he can get, engaging community activities with enthusiasm. However, as his responsibilities start to increase, he become overwhelmed and stressed, struggling to juggle his full-time job. This is where you bring food to the table, and numerous commitments. So what happened? One day, in a chill day evening after the tiring commitments that you have always, these, you don't sleep, you want to catch up here, no focusing. He sat on his porch with a tea, realizing how drained he had become. And it was very problem. Acknowledging the need for balance, the guy decided to step back and take a break. And eager to recharge and rediscover the joy on the both his commitment and personal life. That guy was me. And I said yes for every single opportunity that I have to engage, because you feel like no is very hard to say. But in hard way, I have learned how to say no without being jerk, because you have to sometimes. Even participating in too many community activities can lead that to stress and work-life imbalance. Eventually, this will lead you to burnout. And sometimes you expose yourself too thin. It's a quantity without quality. So you have to consider, you have to balance. You have a life, so you can enjoy both. So my advice here, balance commitments to sustain impact, prioritize quality over quantity in a community contributions, because those are people like you investing their time to come to listen to something. So as my time is very valuable, your time as well. So I hope you get this, but I get it in hard way as well, because we love to be here and here and here and here, but over the time, you don't do everything, even in your work, your commitment with your friends, with your family, with everyone is not in a quality way. You will not enjoy it. But it looks that you're doing too much things, but you lose the quality at the end. Communication. Communication is one of the soft skills are missing, and people, and this could break down, especially with different diversity and when you work with people. You have to communicate things clearly, as well as, very importantly, repeated, clarify, say and deliver and mention everything happening transparently. You have to be transparent, even if it looks hard. You need to do it like this. Then you will gain the trust. Once you gain the trust, they will forgive you. They will understand you, because if you have no trust between you and your client or even team or whatever you are managing or the people you are working with, you will have a barrier. This barrier, they will not listen to you because you are not transparent. And it's easy to have shortcuts and sneaking because it looks nice, but over the time, lies doesn't have wings. Or shortcuts will show up with some rework, overcommitment, all of these kind of things. So fail to keep stakeholders updated, resulting in a mismatched expectation and project, strain. You have to keep understanding of this. And what I can say that as the result, if you don't keep your stakeholders updated, why I'm always emphasizing stakeholder? Because we are software engineers. Stakeholders could be your manager, the final customer, your CEOs or top management expectation report, anything that processes, whatever it is. Could be your colleague expecting from you something, anyone expecting from you something. Those are your stakeholders. Or even different systems, but they will not speak with you. Different systems, that's very nice. If you didn't give me what I want, I will not accept you. But with people, you need to build the trust. Communication, transparency. Don't think it's what they will say. No. You have to say it, you have to deliver, and you did what you want. They will listen later, even if they are angry now. They will close the doors, understand, but you delivered. But no one will blame you later why you didn't commit to us the real results, or why you didn't give the real estimation, or why you didn't commit, or you can say a lot of things and you didn't do it. No, I can deliver 1, 2, 3, 4. Some customers, okay, I want this, cost. When you mention cost, everyone will, okay, I need to pay my pockets hurt, It's always like this. Like, I cannot get a vendor, yes, but I have to say, sorry. It's like a pain in the neck. It's I forget the word. I will say it in a different way. I respect the quality over than the quantity, again, because they always like trying to pressure you, and you have to have your defense mechanism. So for sure, as a result, the stakeholders' trust will be improved when you are like this, and you have a discipline in this. And we realized and realigned our objectives. This is very important. You are aligned to objectives. You are doing this for these objectives. You know that they are aware. So what I can learn literally from here, transparent, regular communication is very crucial, especially in multicultural systems. And stakeholders need to be aligned, or surprises will break the trust. Whatever you feel in the middle that something will break the objectives, either cost, increased, or you need resources or need. This is the same what you do with your Scrum Master. If there is obstacles or, things, you have to communicate it in order to early resolve it. So the people will be, informed. There is no future surprises. Cloud. We are working with cloud everywhere. So what's the problem with cloud? Building a system, this is what we learned. We are experienced with most of the people AWS, then moving to Azure. It's one cloud. Yes, we know that each cloud, similar to the others, just a bunch of different names for the services, but actually no. Yes, this is how they compete as a cloud, either GCP or Azure or Microsoft Azure or Amazon AWS, or even Bluemix from IBM or Oracle Cloud. They're trying to provide you the same services. Why? Easy migration. But internally, things and integrations is completely different. And also, you need sometimes to make some cloud provider as very efficient in some services. Like GCP is very good at data management. and storage and latency, very, very good at this. Some others are very good for security integration. They have a very mature services to provide this. Others are very good at compute services and scalability and region. They have different data centers in many regions, so you can rely on them. They providing different sovereign clouds, government clouds, integrations with cloud that is not easy to do. Like when you would like to integrate with China, for example, you have to do some integration contracting with local cloud provider. You cannot have data center out there. European Union things for GDPR and data cannot move from here. All of this, they are different. So you have to understand the differences as well as the strengths of each cloud provider, because they are tools at the end. So building a system heavily relying on one single cloud provider, unless it's a small application. I'm speaking about large applications that need to serve different regions, different continents, as we are doing in Magna. Because our teams, as I mentioned to you, in every and single continent on Earth. And sometimes Europeans have different view, like data for users cannot go out. For America, they have different. For Canada, an example, in Latin America, in Middle East, and in China, it's different. And how we can provide even new data from China to have it in unified report, all those are questions. And you have to use some of other cloud, then you need to integrate all of them. So this is why I'm saying relying on a single cloud provider could cause issues with transitioning to a multi-cloud approach. So when you would like to design, consider, always ask, how can I do integration? How can I rely? Because sometimes we are doing AWS because of the experience, then you realize that most of the customer migration goes to Azure because some certain factors. They are partner, they are getting funds, all their infrastructure on-prem, like my company, are on Microsoft technologies, so it's very easy lift and shift to Azure cloud. But you have some other services, because it's in Canada easy to have this AWS. Okay, I don't need to rework it, but I need to integrate, not to continue out there. All the data assets are on Azure. Moving and integrating data outside will cost a lot, because you need to move data between, because you're using S3 and Sega makers and Glue and all of this for transformation. Okay, let me use Azure services. But I will use the application side from here to view, and the data is here. Monitoring, all of this. They are all provide cloud integration. But think about multi-cloud, because this is cost, rework, time, and also architecture rework. So architect for flexible from start, and design system to be portable and considered multi-cloud resilient. And sometimes you need to balance between resiliency, multi-region, disaster recovery. So you have Kubernetes to run your services. We move to containerized application to be agnostic, cloud agnostic, and all of these kind. But everything comes with price. This is very important. What is the trade-offs based on the user needs? You don't have to follow the big tech giant just to prove that you don't need, because their use cases needed to solve their problems. Not every single problem should also resonate to your system. So don't overcomplicate as well as cost. Finally, overlooking teams, diversity and inclusivity. We have 1 minute, and I will be glad to speak about this one, because it's very important and give me a lot of different views of thoughts and openness and everything, because early in my career, we didn't consider diverse perspective on my team. We usually tend to have the same people. We are more resilient to work with people similar to us. Same culture, same language, same background. But think about it in a moment. If you have always this, I will take it from different perspective. Why God created us different? Different language, different culture. It could be one language. It's perfect. It could be one culture. But why we are different? To get benefit from each other. Because we are creative. If we are similar, why do I need you? Why you need me? We are doing the same things. We think the same. But when you are diverse, You are more, have things that I don't have. Culture, social, many things that you can see. Take it from this. When you deal with people from different perspectives, different culture, religion, mindset, countries, don't look at them, they are different, so they have to be like me. No, they look at you the same. You're different. Why you're doing this? No. Always, if it's not clear for you, ask why you are doing this. No one is stupid doing something because we don't know behind. So diversity is very important, and bring different solutions, different perspective. Especially when I was working in an e-commerce startup company in Serbia. And in Serbia, even I'm English speaking, but they will speak with you when it comes to communication. They will switch to Serbian, and okay, I don't understand. And Mohamed, you are learning Serbian. It's okay for you. Like, yes, I'm learning, but this is the coding standard of the company to speak in English. But I understand. I didn't get offended by this because I understand. As an Egyptian and I speak Arabic, I feel more comfortable because, yes, culture, language, jokes, things, it's easy. But, yes, so I feel them. So you see, you don't feel upset. You don't feel like he doesn't respect me. No, just, you'll feel more relaxed. So when we're developing e-commerce system, they start launch it in Serbia. So normally they start like, doing the development interface, culture and everything. They wanted to expand in Macedonia, Croatia, using the same team. We faced a lot of problems with user interface. Language priorities, you have like using Google Translate or something like this, and these tools for translation, it's not working because you have to hire people local from that region. They know their culture, they know their, requirement of the user. They already live in the problems, so they know what they want. So they will help you to bring and expand your business into their country easily. So we decided to say, like, guys, when you hire, don't hire Serbian to work in Macedonian. You have to have a team, either front end, marketing, everything. They're only focusing on marketing, but they doesn't focus on the who's developing. Then miscommunication happens. So make autonomous team there, and then you communicate the strategy. What is the objectives? And then what we need to do in the front end, how you can have different branches because how it looks, the colors, things, it's completely different. This is why diversity also is very, very important. And when you have like, doing one application for multi, it's not only you. And when you have diverse system, all this big tech, I learned this when I joined Java community. I found that it's not, when I traveled to America to contribute with the guys and listening to them in GDK discussion, GSRs, all of this specification, Java community process, you will find every single person here is completely from different country. And they have different thoughts. I learned a lot from them. Sometimes I felt stupid. I don't understand like why. Why they know and they don't know all of this? Yes, because they are different. So everyone, and you bring your solution. They bring your solution, their own solutions. And this is why diversity really, really make things more efficient and covering a broader way for the audience. So what I'm learning from here, diverse team bring stronger solutions and embrace a culture of inclusivity for innovative problem solving and creativity. So what I would like to say, if you can't fly, then for sure you need to run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. It means you have to continue learning, communicating, continue do what is required from you in order to reach your goal always. You have to keep moving. And this is one thing that people like, it's always getting new. Yes, we have to continue moving always. It's by Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you very much for listening. I'm very glad to have you here. Thank you for actively listening. I appreciate it. And I hope that it wasn't boring for you. If you have any questions, you scan again and try to switch. Wow. Okay. What would you recommend when the management says there is no money for security now, or we don't have time for documentation apart from changing the company? Yes, you don't have to change the company, but you have to be clear that what you will be facing. You have to document this, that if it's like struggle about there is no money for this, you have to give the trade-offs, what they will face, and how much money they will lose once we have security vulnerabilities in your system. And believe me, they will rely on. And sometimes they doesn't understand the value of what they are trying to neglect. Your job is to bring the value. It's not because we have to have document system. No, what is the value? So when you bring the value, you give them opportunity to think about what they are refusing. So this is what I always like. We don't, sometimes like I develop system and using Azure services and someone like, I can do it with Power Apps. Like that. How do you scale? What about the licenses for each single user is going to use app service? Is it communicating to SQL Server? Yes, it means premium license. And what about the application scalability? Do you consider this? I have no problem to use Power Apps at the beginning, but you will need to rework this if you want more scalability across the global Magna. I have this conversation because they always want to prove it, but you have to give the reasons, ask them, then they are, okay. Then I documented because he asked me a reasonable question. Next one, how have you found is the best way to say no without being jerk? First of all, you have to have encourage to say, and sometimes you have commitment to conference. Sometimes I have. And it's prioritization. I prioritize what need to be done, and sometimes in conferences I like, even after I accept, but don't come at the end of the, this is how to not be jerk, because these people are organizing things. It happens to me with GeeCON. Unfortunately, last year I've been accepted. I was very glad to come, but I have business priority and family priorities during that time. But 1 month before, once I realized, I sent to the guys to find different speaker so they can have time. Sometimes you have to care about the other's time, but you can say no. But don't wait, they will upset from me. But what if you say 1 week before or 3 days before? So in business, when you say no for something, you have to give a reason. Because at the previous question, just clarify why. For your friends, you don't have to clarify. I'm not in the mood to go out. So guys, let's catch up later. Things like, it's different based on the situation. Things need to be clarified. Things it's up to you. It's a social. But sometimes, please, say no when you didn't feel comfortable. Diversity picture looks distorted, especially hands and faces yes, it was AI generated. So it's very good observation. Are these spaces to discuss failure at work constructively without it being a blame game? Even criticism during the sprint retrospective could appear. Let me again. Are there spaces to discuss failures at work constructively? It depends how you look at this. Some people, yes, some people they would like to ask it as a blame, but who doesn't make mistakes? We are learning. So depend on it could be based on the point of view that you are discussing, how you discuss the problem. Are you discuss here to solve the problem and learn from it, or you're discussing to blame? Culture is different. And with my team, you have to clarify, no blaming. I do mistakes. This is why I'm sharing with you what I messed up. No one will be bulletproof from the starting point. So yes, it could be, but it's a mindset. You have to understand. We are here not to argue, to resolve the problem because it's affect us. No blaming. Don't feel, this encouraged to speak up. When you have this, it will be clarified, enhance the team, and will foster that open, transparent culture. But it takes effort based on the mentality of the company you are working on or the people you are working with. Do you have any advice for situations when ambitious deadlines were promised to upper management even when engineers reported delays and issues? Yes, I am exposed to this every single day with our time to delivery. Even I was architecting multi-phased 3 years plan, and every year they just tweak it because we don't have time, we don't have money. I need to re-architect again based on this constraint and the time space and the resources. Then I reduced some things, like between the resources, the cost I'm trying, or doing something, it's not using some other tools. I have to re-architect in a way to justify the budget and the time. But I have to come back to say, when we will do this, we will cut 1, 2, 3, and these 2, 3, 4 tasks will not be included, and it will be shifted to the next year phase. I will deliver what you want, but you have to understand that we cannot do this. If you have magic wand or stick, do it. But I don't say it like this, but you say it as a nicely way that if you have any further solutions, I'm open to discuss it. So, time's up, sorry. You can find me outside. You are welcome to any questions. Thank you very much.